everyone. Welcome to Dub Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. The Warriors go 4-1 on this road trip. They are now 6 games over 500 for the first time this season, and they have 8 games left to play. Warriors coming home from that flight feeling pretty good. All right, this is Zena, Keita. I'm Kerith, Burke. Let's talk about why the Warriors need to feel good. Yes, they handled the Spurs. Yes, that is the worst team in the West, but it showed their concentration. It showed that they could take care of business.
It shows that they're building momentum as well, which is the most important part of the season right now, to be building momentum as you rush towards the postseason and try to solidify a spot in that game of the play-in, playoff, etc. Mm-hmm. So they're feeling good. They're really starting to build momentum in not only being able to close games, being able to keep defenders to low-scoring games, being able to find success regardless of lineup, because even in this 5 games that they've had quite a few switches because of injuries, Draymond getting ejected, being able to find success, and they've been able to share the limelight. It's not always been just one player that's been able to be the best scorer or the best productive person on the court. They've been able to find some special pockets of success from everyone contributing.
Okay, so we need a cohesive team with good habits heading into the postseason. Let's take a look at the Western Conference standings. The Warriors in 10th place right now, but, I mean, that's where they started, okay. But they're 2 games ahead of Houston. That is extremely important because Houston's 11-game win streak is over. Houston ran into the Mavericks tonight. Luka, 47 points in 35 minutes, had 9 threes, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Ooh. Why do we mention that? Because that is the Warriors' next opponent right there.
Yeah, and the Warriors have quite a challenge in Dallas because Dallas ain't playing. And when I say they ain't playing, they really are playing. Yeah. They are coming out, showing their guard skill, showing their interior skill. They've got it all together. They've really got the makings of a team that can go far in the playoffs. And they also have no mercy. This is not a team that's taking it lax against teams, as you saw what they did against the Houston Rockets. But you saw those standings. Warriors are now getting a little bit of cushion between them and Houston.
We'll take any of it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, the whole Warriors come out and play. None of that. Stay back in the standings, 2 games out. Warriors have to keep building on this momentum and keep building on this cushion away from the Rockets, solidifying a spot in the play-in.
All right, 33 points for Steph Curry to wrap up this road trip, and he sat down on the podium moments ago. Let's take a listen.
Did what we had to do. Minnesota game was a tough, way to start the trip with the fourth quarter and feeling like we let one go, but responded well. The teams we played, those are the ones that you have to win. Keep yourself in the fight, and we did that. No style points really for any of it, but you get out of here with 4 wins and keep the momentum rolling. The schedule going home for 1, going back to Texas for 2, like we have a tough task ahead of us, so we needed these.
It's been a pretty jam-packed schedule, a lot of road games, like you mentioned, back-to-back coming back here. What are some of the challenges in managing a schedule like that, and what kind of grit and mental toughness have you guys kind of shown in dealing with that?
Exactly what you said. That's what it requires. Being in the present, just how do you win this particular night? We've said that a lot this year, but everybody, different guys stepping up on given nights. And, tonight, the way Draymond played was unbelievable, making his presence felt. He does it on the defensive end. He does it with his matchups, making those extra plays. But even tonight on the offensive end, being aggressive, taking what the defense gave us a huge boost. Trace doing what he does, what he's been continuing to do, getting better every single game. Moses off the bench playing impactful minutes. So the collective effort of whose turn is it to step up and give us a great effort.
You talked a little bit about withstanding the punches. Every time y'all made a run, it seems that they responded with a little run of their own and kept closing the gap.
It's interesting because you look at their record and you expect them to, I guess the narrative might be that they might lay down and quit, but they're playing for, confidence and just vibes on trying to finish the season strong, and you're playing free. So anytime we had separation, they were just responding, like you said, Wemby's hitting a bunch of threes. Devontae Graham off the bench hit a couple of big shots. It seemed like they were always, responding. And in their home building, that's what you expect. So, like I said, no style points for us on every time we really had a built a momentum. They were right there, with an answer. But thankfully, we had enough down the stretch. Clay hitting that big shot, and 30 seconds left.
You shared with us that you had a chance to spend some time with your family today for Easter. Just what did that mean to have your family here today for Easter Sunday?
It's just a reminder about the sacrifices of, everybody who was in this building, you guys, coaches, players, sacrifice you have working on Easter weekend. And thankfully, my kids are a little older where they could travel a little bit and not make it too crazy on my wife. But it was nice to see him in the stands and be able to spend the morning with him. But, it's not easy what we do. And it reminds you of the sacrifices, we make, our family makes to, allow us to do what we do on the court. So it was nice to have him here.
What does Easter mean?
Obviously, my faith is a big part of, who I am. And I like to call it Resurrection Sunday in the sense of acknowledging that he's risen, and that's the meaning of what we celebrate. So as a parent especially, it's nice to be able to share that message with my kids and allow them to find that meaning for themselves. So it gave me a good perspective just to play today and have fun, knowing what today means.
All right, so happy Easter to those who are celebrating. All right, so the last 5 games, that would be the span of this road trip here. Steph, because this was an earlier topic, remember, 32 minutes per game on the road trip. But yeah, only the 30 in Minnesota. But look at these point totals here. He had fun in his homecoming in Charlotte. Steph Curry coming up big for his team per usual. When he's 36 years old, when he's playing very high-level basketball, but knowing it's not always going to last, what do you think these moments mean for Steph to have a road trip like this and to help his team stay in playoff contention?
I think for Steph, it means an opportunity to continue to build not only his legacy, but the Warrior legacy, to get the next generation ready and going. You saw him, you saw Chris Paul, you saw Draymond Green, these veterans talking to these young players and showing them the example of how to play, having fun, being able to be productive on the floor. It means a lot to be able to win these games on the road, especially because those are the toughest environments. And so Steph Curry having fun out there, going out with his teammates and finding success, especially in the midst of a season that's been so rocky and so inconsistent and not anything they could have possibly kind of predicted, I'm sure it means a lot for him. And then when you think about what it means for his game, Steph, those numbers are great. Don't get me wrong, especially in the time that he's been playing. But what they don't show is that he's been struggling in some parts of his game, starting slow in some of these games, picking it up in the second half. He's been averaging about 9 points in the first half versus about 15 points in the second half. He is starting to see, how else can I still be productive in my game? He's been setting up his teammates a lot more. He's been trying to find opportunities for them to score. You're seeing him hustle. I mean, you look at this road trip, 10 assist game at Orlando. You've got the 50% from the floor at Charlotte, which was great, but then 6 assists at Miami. So you're seeing his game that's always been about, yes, his ability to score, but also him in continuing his legacy of setting up his teammates around him.
One of the reasons he needed to have 10 assists in Orlando is because Draymond Green was ejected from that game. I'm just thinking about this road trip for Steph. Started with that minutes conversation in Minnesota. He was angry in Orlando, put his head in his jersey for a moment, and then he kicked the chair afterward. I mean, like, he was mad. Yeah. Mad. Had his homecoming in Charlotte. Wanted to finish this 5-game road trip. So it was 8 days that the Warriors have been away. Steph, the leading scorer for the Dubs in this one. 7 threes, by the way. So he leads the league in 3-point shooting. I mean, come on. His total
He's been
now
doing that,
up to 329 3-pointers. All right, but let's go back to Draymond because he is tonight our BMW Ultimate Performer. I was just looking at his numbers in the third quarter, Zena, because the Warriors were at halftime down 8. So Draymond scores 7 of the first 9 points. In the quarter, goes 4 of 4 with a 3, 3 assists, 2 steals. The steals are an important part of his game tonight. Why don't you give us the summary of Draymond's game?
Draymond put the depth of his impact on this team and on this league even on display tonight. He tallied at least 5 of whatever category in the most influential stats. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, 6 steals. Last time he did that was in 2021, in December of 2021 against Phoenix. It's not a common feat to be able to get 5 of each of those incredibly important type of stats. And he can do that. He was involved in key defensive plays. And when he was involved in those plays, he was able to turn them around quickly, push the pace, and then get offense going. That contributed to the 23 fast break or points off turnovers points that the Warriors had. So this is what Draymond does. He can score for you, and he also showed the diversity in his scoring, putting the ball on the deck, being able to shoot the 3 in the corner. He was able to show his versatility there. He was also able to show his defensive ability. And then, hey, old man looked like he was drinking from the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Okay, because he was up there battling with those youngsters, getting rebounds, and that box out at the end of the game really sealed the deal. And so there you see it, the full depth of what Draymond provides to this team and why he is so integral to the success of the Warriors.
Yeah, contending with Wembanyama tonight, also having 21 of his own points. And then, it was just 4 days ago that Draymond was ejected in Orlando. The team calling that unforgivable.
Yeah.
We praised Draymond in Charlotte for having a quiet night. Now, what we meant by quiet, because he finished with 8, 8, and 4, was that we didn't see those, like on our broadcast, those isolation shots of Draymond talking to a referee, Draymond taking some of that spotlight. No. And then tonight, it's like talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. So show that you're going to be there for your teammates in your actions. And that is why Draymond Green was our BMW Ultimate Performer, because he showed up for his team in a massive, massive way, because the Warriors need every win that they can get. All right, other players showing up for their teams in massive ways. When we come back on Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World, we need to talk about some of these role players here. How about this one, Brandin Podziemski? Of course, we're going to show some love to Moses Moody. We also need to talk about JK. Where has he been?
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini's Sleep World. Visit Mancini's Sleep World during our We'll Pay the Sales Tax event. Save big on premium mattresses, plus free delivery. Hurry in now or visit us online at sleepworld.com.
My friends, back on YouTube. Hey guys, Law here, Catherine, Dominic, Otis. Yeah, Law saying Wemby is sick. Crazy how he can defend as well. Isn't he the blocks leader in the NBA, Wemby?
I believe so.
I think so, definitely among the rookies. There
Definitely
you
on
go.
totals, for sure.
Oh yeah. Olip says very poor game from Wiggins tonight. Wiggins did have a quiet one. This is a little bit concerning, but I will rewind back. I mean, on the road trip, Wiggins had performed very well. He was the leading scorer, remember, in that Orlando game. So hopefully this one is just a blip, because it did look like Andrew Wiggins was putting several good games together, and that's what you want to see, consistency there.
And then to kind of explain what I saw for why Wiggins was struggling. I mean, one, Wiggins was getting in there. He missed a lot of bunnies in terms of just being able to get to the basket. But I think the length and the athleticism really kind of bothered him, because a lot of the times that he was going in there, he would have wide open bunnies and would either be altered or hesitant, because this is a shot blocking team in the Spurs, especially with Wembanyama in there. But their guards are pretty long and active as well. Of course, Sohan and being thick. And by the way, it is. Let me just make sure I get this right.
You talking about his name?
Mamaka Lashvili. That is the way to say it. We were just missing the Lash in our postgame, but that's okay.
Hang on a minute.
Mamaka Lashvili, also very long. And so I think that there was a little bit of hesitation of just like, and that happens. When you get up there, you're thinking you're expecting the foul, and you put a little bit too much English on it, or you put a little bit too much oomph on it. It happens. I did it many times. But I think that's what bothered him really tonight. But we'll see what happens.
Anything's on the table for us. Everything's possible. Obviously, we're playing really well right now, 14-17 on the road now. And so just trying to figure out at home. And, coming into the year, if you told us that we need to figure it out at home to get in the playoffs, I think we'll take it. So obviously, we got, I think, eight left for maybe 4 or 5 on the road left. So just trying to take care of business, go home for 1, and then back out here for 2.
Draymond, being in this basketball team, want to give you guys some.
Yeah, he's a big reason why we won 14-17 on the road. He just impacts the game in so many ways. And his influence outside the basketball lines is, tremendous to all the young guys, and he breeds confidence on us. And, tonight, he was playing like he was at Michigan State. He was doing everything, shot the ball well, played well. So it was great to see, especially from me as a young guy.
It's play in the first quarter where he went up for a layup. Did you follow? Steve got a technical afterwards. Did that get you guys going at all?
Yeah, I think so. Whenever, Draymond gets a technical, Steve gets a technical, I think that just naturally, boosts momentum in our favor. And I think it did for the most part. Obviously, to start the third quarter, the starting group did a good job of, making our run to start, and we just kind of held that lead until the end of the game. Obviously, they made some shots late, but we were able to hang on.
Is it like constructing a game plan defensively for a guy like Wendy?
It's fun. It's fun, and you get to see the coaches' creativeness, how their brains work in terms of schemes and stuff like that. But for us, it's just kind of taking away his space. Obviously, in space, he's, really hard to stop, maybe even impossible to stop. And then when he gets close to the rim, it's pretty much, you're at his mercy. So just kind of crowding him, pushing his catches out. I think we did a better job the last time we were here than tonight. But, 22 shots, made only 10 of them. So we'll live with that.
Okay. Sorry.
We were thinking about something
We
else.
were
Don't
thinking
worry,
about
guys.
totally something else. Let's go to, all right, we just heard Brandin Podziemski, one of the people who helped out the team tonight, because when you don't have Jonathan Kuminga missing his 3rd straight game with knee tendonitis, when you have to withstand a quieter night from Andrew Wiggins on this one, just 2 of 12, and maybe by Clay's standards, a quiet night for Clay as well. Remember, he missed a game, 2 games, a game,
Yes.
with knee soreness as well, maybe came into the game out of rhythm. So you need to get your points from somewhere. If it's not going to be from those 3 players, Brandin Podziemski giving you 12, Moses Moody giving you 10. Where would you like to start as far as role players making their stamp on this game?
We can start with both of them because they do the same thing for the Warriors. They stick with the play. I love when coaches always say, stick with the play through the whistle. Those are the type of players that Brandin Podziemski and Moses Moody are. They will make sure that every single time that there's a loose ball, they're on it. Every single time there's a rebound, they're crashing the glass. Every single time there's an opportunity for the Warriors to come up with a 50-50 ball, you best believe they're putting in their numbers to get that 50% for the Warriors. I love the way both of them contribute to the game, because what you need sometimes is just this easy bunny. You don't need something that's super flashy. You don't need something that's, a breakdown ISO one-on-one. You just need to be able to hit your open shots, hit that open layup, be able to get those offensive rebounds, of which Brandin Podziemski had 3 tonight, and gave the Warriors more opportunities. And this is what Moses Moody does too. Their ability, both of them, Moody and Podziemski, being able to look for their teammates when the opportunity calls for it is huge, because it's not always about just trying to score all the time. It is also about, what can I do that helps put my teammates in the best position? And so we can talk about both of them, because both of them do the same thing that the Warriors need right now, and that's those type of plays, finishing it up and making sure that the Warriors can compete.
I'm just thinking about the journeys both of these guys have been on. Moses Moody in his 3rd year obviously does not get probably the playing time that he deserves, or playing time that he would have on another team that's not as deep as the Warriors. There you go. His patience has been legendary. He gets a lot of attaboys. When you get him from Steve Kerr talking about his professionalism, or Chris Paul saying he's one of my favorite teammates of my career.
Of all time.
That's a big deal.
Huge deal.
That's a big deal.
He's played with Blake Griffin. He's played with James Harden. He's played with Kobe Bryant. He has played with some legendary players. And he's saying Moses Moody, one of my favorite players of all time. I will say, on the point of the playing time, interesting that tonight in the death lineup needed at the end of the game to get a bucket,
Who was out there?
Moody was not out there.
Okay.
Brandin Podziemski was.
Okay.
So that is very interesting to keep an eye out, because these clutch games are going to keep happening. It seems like it. Great thing is the Warriors are being able to close out games. But Moody not being out there as a scoring threat. Interesting.
The 43rd clutch game of the season.
Whew.
More than half. Oh,
Wow.
okay. But then Brandin Podziemski worked his way into the starting lineup, was removed from the starting lineup. So he also has to be like, okay, what is my place? What do I need to do? Can he do it with minimal grumbles? Can he still make an impact? And I think this road trip was an example of that for both Moses and Podziemski. All right, so we mentioned Jonathan Kuminga, out for a third straight game with knee tendonitis. He's been averaging 19 points per game since the All-Star break. The Warriors miss him. One of the questions going forward will be, was this just a little span of time that he needed to feel good heading into the postseason, or will his knee be a larger issue? I hate to ask you because we don't have the answer to that,
Right.
but kind of what's your read right now on being a former athlete and seeing teammates deal with tendonitis?
It is honestly a feel thing. It's a comfort thing. I'm going to the gym with my trainers, moving around, seeing how I'm cutting, seeing how I'm feeling after being treated and warmed up. Does it still move fluidly? Because the last thing the Warriors want right now is their star player, and Jonathan Kuminga, particularly a secondary scorer besides Steph Curry, doing anything right now that might jeopardize their ability to play well in the postseason, which is what they're striving for. Of course, they're going to look to the Warriors, the Warriors that are available right now, to be able to push them to that spot, but they need him healthy to be able to go further once they get there. So you saw Klay Thompson miss one game. Right. So it's clear it's something that is completely going to be on, how Jonathan Kuminga feels and how he responds to it. But it is something they miss. I mean, I look particularly at the points in the paint tonight. Ended up beautifully, 46-42. But halftime, 28-16.
Okay. They missed
Jonathan Kuminga was missed in the paint in the beginning. But they cleaned it up, partly because Draymond Green. But Jonathan Kuminga is very missed.
They're going to do, the Warriors, whatever they need to do to preserve a player's health. They're
right.
very good at that. And they need Jonathan Kuminga for a postseason run. His third-year explosion has been extraordinary. I don't think the Warriors go that far in the postseason without a healthy Jonathan Kuminga, so something to keep an eye on for sure. All right, let's keep an eye on the standings, the schedule, all of it. Let's take a look at the standings when we come back. 8 games left. It's surprising to say that. It's April tomorrow?
Whoa,
okay.
what?
Okay. All right, Dubs Talk Live brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. We'll be right back. Ooh. All right, we're back on YouTube. May I just say a note, because we got caught and maybe we didn't hear you, but can you let us know when we're coming back from sound, please? So we didn't get caught too bad. We were just talking about something unrelated to basketball. So,
All good.
all good. All good. All good. No, thank you.
You're good.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Kat says she likes the idea of treating home games like away games and staying in the hotel. That might be good. Steph Curry's at the same.
Yeah,
thing.
he said
the
he's like, maybe we need to get a
joke.
hotel
Maybe
at
they do
home.
it. That's
It's
right.
true.
That is correct.
And the thing about it is like, it's not like they're having these breakout performances on the road where they're just demolishing teams.
No, this was a 4-point game.
This was a 4-point.
in
Yeah,
like
but
less
we
than 2
cannot-
minutes to play.
We cannot deny that,
How
right?
many? How many did you say? Excuse me.
Yeah, good. 3
Okay,
minutes,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, we can't deny that this was like, oh man, they killed the Spurs. Like, no,
They did not
it was
kill the
close.
Spurs.
But there's something to be said about them being able to overcome the runs from opponents on the road.
Yes.
Right? Them
Yep.
either being able to, if they get down and overcome those deficits, or be able to sustain, okay, they're going on a run, but we can still push and elevate our lead. So that's huge compared to where they were in the beginning of this year, because it was like, if you lost the lead,
Yeah.
well,
that's game.
Yeah, right.
Like, toss this over our shoulder.
You know, I don't know. It was
Good,
just interesting.
good,
So
good.
it's good that they're being able to learn that skill at this point of the year, because at that point, that's all that matters. A win is a win is a win.
Win is a win is a win. We're back on Dubs Talk Live. 8 games left, which means we're looking at a 2-week schedule. And this is it.
I can't believe this.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think there's one game after this, maybe on the 14th, if I can count correctly. But yeah, Dallas is next. Then they keep playing these Texas teams. They go back on the road for a back-to-back. That Houston game, because the Warriors are 2 games up now, has lost a little bit of its heat, but still, you know the Rockets are gunning for the Warriors. You know that one will have a very intense vibe to it. And then you've got Dallas again. So you're going to end up seeing Luka Doncic twice this same week. Luka, again, putting up 47 points in 35 minutes against the Rockets tonight. Kyrie added 24. And then I do believe you see Utah twice. I think that's the last game. But yeah, this is it, guys. Coming down to the wire. If you haven't had a chance to see the Dubs at Chase Center this year, see if you can get those regular season tickets before the playoff tickets get expensive. Here you go. The Warriors chasing the Lakers. The Rockets chasing Golden State. I don't know, Zena. What do you think? Do you think that I'm not certain if the Warriors can move up? Maybe if something happens with the Lakers, but this feels like if the Warriors can just hold, would that be good enough?
I believe so. In track, when you run that very last, I used to run the 400. When you run that last leg, I had a coach that was from Jamaica, David. I'll never forget him. He'd be like, Zena, step on the jugular. Step on the jugular. This is the time for the Warriors to step on the jugular. This is when you make your last ditch effort to be able to separate yourself from Houston and then try and chase down your competitor in front of you, which is Lakers. And that what you have to do is be able to put all of the things that you've learned about yourself together at the end of the year. So that means regardless of lineup, how do we keep pushing the pace? Regardless of lineup, how do we keep distributing the ball? How do we make sure that we're moving off ball? All of these things that they're doing well in being able to sustain their leads and keep teams from overcoming them. This is what they've learned, and they got to put it all together right now. This is the time.
Open 4 or 4x4 or both?
Girl, both.
Okay.
Scary times.
That's difficult.
Both.
Okay.
It was not. I mean, we were good. We were decent.
Okay.
I used to hyperventilate every time. Every time.
The butt lock that happens on the final stretch. The butt lock.
the
Even
worst.
when you want to step on the gas, you cannot.
You're trying.
Because you don't have it in your buns anymore.
Well, I hope the Warriors do.
I hope they do
I
too.
hope the Warriors do. It's the time right now for them to find that in them.
Ooh, okay. Well, with this kind of roster, with this kind of payroll, you would hope they could find the oomph. With this kind of postseason experience, knowing what they need to do to set themselves up for a postseason run, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Sometimes it feels really great, the Warriors are in 10th. Sometimes it feels really terrible, the Warriors are in 10th. All that goes away when the postseason starts if you can make it. So regardless, just get in and see what you can do.
Find
What's
your
this?
lane.
Is this just slide?
I'm telling you, you just got to
Yeah,
slide in.
just gotta go right
at the end.
Okay.
You know, in track, you do the dip.
Yep.
That's what
Cross
they gotta
the finish line. Don't pull up before you cross that line. All right, thanks for watching. She's Zena, Keita. I'm Kerith, Burke. This has been Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Catherine says, come see me in Modelo. We should go up there.
We will,
You do
we will,
always
yeah.
take care of us. Katrina says, let them know, Zena. That's right. That's right. Chico says, the 400 meters is exhausting.
What?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
It's the worst.
A dead sprint.
You collapse. You're literally,
It is a dead sprint.
For 1 minute, you are just
Yes.
sprinting. Unreal. Unreal.
Katrina says, this year has been an emotional roller coaster for me. Maybe you're talking about personally. Maybe you're talking about this season. Yes. Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me
It
too.
has been for us too, covering them.
Man,
so.
when we're talking about 13 games where the Warriors have had a 12-point lead or more and lost those games, how many? This has been an unfortunate season where, sometimes we hit the desk and we're like, well, was that the worst loss of the season? Or was it this one? Or was it this one?
right.
Because the Warriors, they could be adding up. If they had 4 of those games, 4 out of 12, where would they be in the standings? They would be at least 9th or 8th. I'd have to see the standings.
Yeah, well, I
again.
mean, you think
always-
that, you
yeah.
think Dallas, 45-29, and
Warriors 40.
the Warriors are 40. I mean, Dallas just crept right in to the 5th, 6th spot. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
The Warriors could have been right there had they cleaned up some of those 20-point losses that they had. I mean, 20-point leads that they lost, or the 15-point ones, or the 12-point ones.
Sure.
Any of them.
No, you can always start coulda, shoulda, woulda, some
Right,
of these. And
right.
this is the time of year where we're like, wow, if we just had that one, if we just had that one, the whole equation would be different. This is their circumstance right now, okay? You are what your record says you are. The good thing is the Warriors are 6 games over 500 for the first time this season. season. So if this is indicative of a Warriors team putting it together, finally, fine, but you take it no matter where it happens.
It's true. We can say this all day long, and I'm sure it doesn't help the players to be like, okay, Kerith, Zena, we know.
Yeah, we know.
But they're at the point of the season where things are starting to be put together. And I think they understand what's at stake, obviously. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Happy Easter, everybody. We will be back on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Okay.